Hey guys, this is Jerry. I'm going to talk to you guys today about my early years. I spent 4 to 7 in a suburb of Chicago, so in a very Midwest type of place. For those of you who have ever lived in the Midwest, people there are very mellow, very nice, very chill. The Midwestern winters are really tough, so it just makes people nice. I don't know how to describe it. I went to a different first grade and a different second grade than I did for kindergarten. So I switched schools 3 times when I was in America from 4 to 7. The one thing that was common between all the schools I went to was the class sizes were very small, about 20 people. And even at a young age, you might not believe it now because I've spent 3 to 4 years learning how to extrovert, but at that age when I was young and my temperament was just natural, I rarely ever hung out with more than 1 or 2 people. In preschool, in kindergarten, in first grade and second grade, I always had 1 or 2 friends. And during many parent-teacher conferences, the teachers would tell my parents, they'd say, hey, you know, Jerry, he only makes 1 or 2 friends. It seems like he has a little gang. He doesn't really hang out with other people. And to my parents' credit, you know, they were pretty bad, shitty parents. But to their credit, they never got on me for that. They just told the teacher, look, he can make friends with whomever he wants, whether it's one person or the whole class. He just wants to make some good friends, 1 or 2. So that's good. My parents never forced me to make more friends than I was comfortable with. And I think that part of my early years really shaped how I am now. I prefer 100% just a few close friends. I believe in quality over quantity. And that's how I've lived my life. I still stay in touch with some of my friends from 20 years ago. When I was 7, my dad, because he was a very brainwashed Chinese person, decided America wasn't good enough. China has potential. So he went back to China. Let's just say China in the 90s wasn't a good place. And for me, going from a Midwestern sheltered little education back to a Chinese public school was horrible for an introverted temperament. The thing about Chinese culture is it actually likes introversion. It likes people who don't just talk things out, who think before they speak. Chinese culture really likes that a lot. But Chinese culture, because of its population, just naturally almost goes against its preference for introversion. When I was in China, China had about 1.2 billion people. Now China's about 1.6, 1.7, depending on which census figures you look at. So I went from a class of 20 people in America to a class of 50, 60 people. So I went back to China. In China, they start school a little later. They start first grade when you're 7. They believe you should be mature enough to sit still in a classroom and not wander around before you start learning. I give that to China's education system, despite many of its flaws. Since I was 7 and I already went to second grade in China, I went back to first grade because that's the age that they start first grade, 7. I didn't start the first day of school on the first day. I went back in the middle of my second grade in Chicago. So I transferred right smack dab in the middle of their first grade second semester. 50 kids in a class for someone like me who was used to hanging out with 1 or 2 people in a class of 20. 50 people. And the teacher, to her credit, you know, one thing about that communism really did well for Chinese culture is they're very welcoming and non-prejudiced towards outsiders. You know, it's about egalitarianism, equality. Everyone should get equal treatment. So this kid coming back from America, she was like, this kid should be treated like one of us. Let's welcome him. So the kids, my classmates in China, took it literally. During the break, all 50 of them surrounded me and walked me to the bathroom to show me where things were. So imagine my introverted disposition. I've never hung out with more than 2 or 3 people. And now 50 people are around me squeezing me. Chinese culture has no sense of personal space because they've been so numerous population-wise for so long. And I wasn't used to that because one, I was Americanized, and two, I was introverted, so I always kept more space to myself. And 50 people walking me to the bathroom, that just... By the time I got to the bathroom, we had to go down the second... Actually, no, we were on the first floor. By second grade in China, I was on the second floor. But first grade, I was on the first floor. So by the time we went out to the bathrooms were outside, the little hole-in-the-ground bathrooms. Another rant for another time. But by the time I got to the bathroom, I was ready to cry. It wasn't because I didn't like the fact that my classmates were so warm. It's just too many fucking people. My mind can't handle it. Too much stimulus. So I just thought that was so funny. I say I've been learning to extrovert for 4 years, but that's actually a lie. It probably started when I was 7, when my parents moved the family back to China, and I was forced to deal with so many goddamn fucking people. Chicago has, I think, 3 or 4 million people, and I remember one time during this summer festival, I don't remember where it was somewhere in downtown Chicago, and it was so crowded, and I just cried because I couldn't handle that many people. It's a classical little kid introvert response. My parents couldn't figure out why. Jerry, there's so many people here. It's the summer. It's party. Why are you crying? I'm like, there's so many people. Can you just kick some of them, tell them to go away? They just thought I was acting out, but I really wasn't. The people, that many people were giving me a panic attack. So the way I felt that for my first day of school in China was a lot like how I felt 3 years ago during that summer festival in Chicago. So many people around you. It's still the kind of anxiety I sometimes still get when I go to bars. That's why I hate going to bars. I mean, I've trained myself to be able to do it, but it's never going to change my temperament. I still need to adjust my temperament to a level that's not natural to be able to do these quote-unquote extroverted things. So that's my story. How was your first day of school? Did you guys transfer schools a lot, and did you have any crazy experiences like this? Let's talk next time. Thank you.